Namaste. The little comment out there. Little volume check. I know we got a couple minutes here. But yeah, just let me know how that may be sounding. And yeah, I'm gonna step away for just a minute and I'll be back. But yeah, put a little note in the comment on volume, if you would, volume level. And, yeah, I practice outside today. Okay. Volume is good. Thank you. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Eric. All right, friends. In the yard, I'm gonna do a little sadhana in the yard. I'm gonna reorient this just a little bit. So the whole sun feature is a little more doable. Yeah, yogis were always, if you will, mindful around their prana, and particularly mindful around what would take their prana, with this idea that the sun, while we need it in certain doses. It wasn't always the best to do our practice in the sun, just because of the be depleting to a pranic climate. So, hi Jenna, Tammy. Tammy, glad you're back with us. And yeah, so I wanted to kind of put a little tone into our practice today. I'm going to chant a mantra, and I'll give you the translation now. And it's mantra's a little long, not too bad. But the translation is: the mind becomes serene by the cultivation of feelings of love for the happy, compassion for those who are suffering, delight for the virtuous, and indifference for the non-virtuous. And Sutra 33, Book 1 of the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. And so again, the mind becomes serene by the cultivations of feelings of love for the happy, compassion for the suffering, delight for the virtuous, and indifference for the non-virtuous. And there's so much going on right now, if you will. And the pivot in these yoga practices is to create the climate, if you will, in our space, in our mind space, where the mind has a sense of serenity. And in that sense of serenity, there's equanimity, if you will, in our kind of vibration. And if there's that kind of sense of equanimity in the vibration, then our mind is fit for concentration, is really what the yogis say. Then the mind is fit for concentration. And so I really wanted to kind of reinforce that idea of creating a serene mind, if you will, with this idea that it's just a preliminary adventure to then be applied to creating serenity. And, so let the eyes just gently close if they aren't already. Begin to breathe into the belly, so diaphragmatic breath. And that diaphragmatic breath allows, as we know, the cultivation of the parasympathetic nervous system to emerge. And let's then allow that to seed the wind of compassion, presence, and compassion. And we'll chant a couple of ohms together, then I'll chant the mantra probably a couple of times. And then we'll begin just a little asana practice. And then again, this class is more geared towards pranayama and meditation. And so release the breath here. And take a nice big inhale. And again, another nice big inhale. Maitri Karuna Mudita Upekshanam Sukha Dukkha Punya Punya Vishayanam Bhavanataschitta Prasaranam Om Maitri Karuna Mudita Upekshanam Sukha Dukkha Punya Punya Vishayanam Bhavanataschita Prasadanam Om Maitri Karuna Mudito Pikshanam Sukha Dukkha Punya Punya Vishayanam Bhavanataschita Prasadanam. And then one last Om together. The mind becomes serene by cultivating feelings of love for those who are happy, for compassion for those who are suffering, delight for the joyful, and dispassion for the non-virtuous. And create a little intention here, a little sankalpa that includes this energy of compassion, and there's such a great need for it. Self-compassion can be directed towards different communities and things. Kind of feel into what is most supportive for you and let that sankalpa be made. I'm going to chant sankalpa mantra here. Om Vishnave Namaha. Om Vishnave Namaha. Om Vishnave Namaha. Hari Om Tatsadya Tasya Sri Brahmanam Dvitviya Parare Sri Svet Varaha Kape America Dvipe Colorado Kande Kali Yuge Kali Pratam Charane. I, Santosh Powell, and friends of Illuminated Insight Yoga. Shri Parameshwar Pratyartana Davarsi Mudra Pritri Tarpan Karishe. So I, Santosh Powell, and the friends of Illuminated Insight Yoga on the 23rd day of the 6th month in the year 2020, we perform our sadhana, our practice for the benefit of the celestial beings, the gods, and all the humans, the manusha. And further, let our solemn promise to serve the energy of compassion in some way and allow that to integrate into our being. Let us be able to utilize that force for positive welfare in the world. Namaste. Okay, friends, thanks for that. And let's just do a little, just a little movement here for the body, just to kind of shake things loose a little bit. I'm going to release my elevation here, and then let's just bring hands to the knees, and then just inhale, float forward, heart floats, and then exhale, round and draw back. A little stretch into the back body, and then just continue, inhale, float forward, and then exhale, draw back. And just continue that pacing. Oh yeah. And then next time forward, you're just going to lean over to the right a little bit and then circle around onto the back of the sits bones. Of course, those circles over to left. Inhale, sweep forward, so kind of connect with the breath here. So you feel your way through that. Oh, yeah, and then gently switch directions when that feels good. So go in the other way. Start awakening up. We had a good retreat last weekend at Shivalaya. Just keep a little word on that. 2 solid days of all kinds of yoga things and some work on the land. And then from this position, extend the right arm out and then inhale, float left arm up. Ooh, yeah. So more of that coming. It's really great. Practice outside. The camping thing can be wonderful. It was a little chilly, a little bit. And then inhale, float on up, and then next we'll gently release. We'll switch here. So float the other arm up, this right arm. Breathe in. Oh, yeah. And then inhale, float on up. Exhale, right arm down. Then inhale, sweep both arms up, and then spiral to the right. Little twist here. Release left hand on the outside of that right knee. Extend front spine, so grow tall. Breathe into the belly. So inhale, belly floats. Exhale to the spine. Building a platform for Tantra Sadhana, Jenna. So just saying, we'll be doing some sadhana up there, hopefully. Big platform for a circle. We practice in a circle. Yeah, and then gently soften to neutral. And then inhale, float on up and spiral to the left, the other way. So we twist here. And then for anyone else that would like to endeavor into deeper sadhana practice, hopefully we'll be able to continue. We'll see how things go. Oh, yeah. And then gently release to neutral. And then let's come to tabletop. So let's just come to all fours. And then just a little undulation of the spine here. So just inhale, look up, lengthen front spine. Exhale, rounding. Oh, yeah. Going into that. Just a little bit of movement in the spine. Lengthening. Good. And then let's circle the hips a little bit. So just kind of unravel that. So circle, say clockwise or so direction. Your way through that. Good. And then switch directions. So go in the other way. Oh. Yeah. And then planting the left hand under the face. Inhale, take the right hand to the sky. Give the wrist a little twirl. We'll thread the needle here. Big inhale, exhale, feeding this right hand through on the inside left shoulder. And that left hand reaches hips to the right here. Oh, yeah. And a nice big inhale and exhale that left hand back underneath you. Ground it and inhale, float that right. And then we'll switch. So ground. Now this right hand, inhale, float left. Reach in, spin the wrist. Stay with the breath here. Big inhale and exhale, feeding now. Left hand through, inside the right shoulder and ear to the mat. Reach in right hand, top of the mat, hips to the left. That's good. And then a big inhale and exhale, draw this right hand back underneath the ground and inhale, float left. Back up. And then I'm just going to spin around to look at you all here. And then extend now the right leg out to the right. We've done this a bunch. And then from here, the pubic bone draws back. Then we'll just bend the elbows and sink and come onto the forearms here. Keep a little energy of the pubic bone drawing back, and that'll entirely pivot the pelvis, and it just feels good in the inner groin. Hopefully it feels good. Breathe in here, just opening up the body. Open up the breath. And then come up to neutral ground when you're ready. This left hand, and then inhale, take the right hand to the sky. Yeah, just reach in. That's good. And then a nice big inhale and exhale, hand and arm down. And then check this out. Sweep this right foot on the outside of the left knee. A figure four is created. The toes tuck under, like so you can see that, or on the top of the foot like that. Whatever might feel best for the body. And then we just sink into it again. Forearms. And then so we begin to really find a tone of compassion in how we practice. So we, in a way, the more tender we can treat the body in our asana practice, that can transform into like a fabric, and it'll come up to neutral of the mind material, and then that fabric then can be consistent in all the other dailies, and so extend this left leg out, hips drift back. Once again, we'll bend here and sink, and then so just breathe in. Ooh, so nice. And then gently float on up and then ground. Now this right hand inhale, take the left hand to the sky, twist in the body. Nice big inhale, exhale, hand down, and then sweep. Now this left foot on the outside of the right knee now, toes tucking under like so. Hips drift back, a little stretch of that. Oh, that left hip now. Stay with your breathing. Ooh, and then gently, float up to neutral position here. So we're back into tabletop. And then let's just come into down dog just for grins here. So downward facing dog, just come on up. I'm going to reorient my image a little bit because that sun keeps flowing over. And we like the sun, but when we're doing our sadhana practice, we really don't want to be in the sun. Just a little reorientation. Yeah. Stay with the breath here. Breathe in. Mm-hmm. So lift the heels, come up onto the tippy toes. Heels lift and down dog. All right. Sink the heart a little bit. Oh. A little steeper pitch of the pelvis and torso and things. That's it. And then release the heels back towards the earth. Feeling that. Put a bend in the right knee, ground the right hand. Stretch left calf and Achilles. And then straighten and switch. So bend left knee, ground left hand, right calf and Achilles. And then again, a little pivot between the two. A little wiggling of the hips. Open up those side bodies. And then for fun, let's come up onto the fingertips. I know this can be a little challenging, but come up onto the fingertips and then really send the hips back. And that just gives so much length to the body. Just feel that, a lot of length that way. Then come back onto the flat hands and then all the way to the earth, child's pose. So knees, hips to the heels, forehead, earth. Oh. And then very gently here, come back up to a seated position. And let's take a moment and establish our asana. So just again, this class, just a light little touch of asana is geared towards pranayama and meditation. Yeah, so kind of settle in. As we know, a little elevation under the pelvis allows for the knees to kind of ground. That's ideal. Or the knees should be supported, so have a little support under the knees. Going into that. Settle in. Yeah. So let's just begin first by some deep yogic breathing. And as a reminder, if the technique is new, we initiate the inhale by expanding the belly, and then the ribs expand, chest lifts and expands, and then a kumbhak at the top. We know that is a suspension, and the technique is you get to the top of the inhale and continue to filter breath in for just a few counts, and then gently and slowly exhale the breath and go to the bottom in kumbhak as well. So kumbhak practice, suspension, breath in and breath out. So same on the bottom of the exhale, you just filter kind of a little bit of breath out to kind of squeeze it out of the lungs. Let's continue the practice. And then with your next exhalation, complete the round that you're on. Release the breath and just breathe normally. Take a moment here. Feel the effects of the practice. Okay, so now we're going to add two features to the same practice. The first one is when we inhale, we're going to capture Mula Bandha. So when we initiate the inhale, remember the belly expands outward, but then the belly draws to the spine, and at that point is when we engage Mula Bandha. Mula Bandha is taught in a lot of different ways. If it's newer to you, it means root lock. And the way that I'm going to teach it, this is the classical Hatha Yoga way, and that is that there's this thing up inside the column of the colon by the name of Ganesh Nadi. And Nadi is just a subtle body channel. And we contract that area. It's about 4 finger widths deep inside the column of the colon where Mula Bandha is. That's where the contraction needs to go to. So as we inhale, I kind of lean back a little bit. That gives me a little more access to the anal sphincter area. And then I just draw the contraction up as much as I can. And then we'll hold the breath in. Versus the kumbhak, it'll be an actual retention for a few counts, and I'll keep us together on this practice. And then we'll exhale, go to the very bottom of the breath, and then here we're going to grab Uddiyana Bandha, which is the navel lock, and this is where the tummy, belly button is drawn towards the spine and goes up under the rib cage. Okay, I'm just going to give you a little demonstration for those that might, wonder what's happening fully. So I'll exhale my breath. So the breath is held out of the body, and then the belly button is drawn to the spine and then up under the rib cage. And it can be fairly significant. These two practices, what happens is Mula Bandha begins to release energy upward, and then Uddiyana Bandha really reinforces that ascension of what's called Apan Pran. And Apan Pran then becomes kind of connected to Pranavayu, which is inward and upward flowing, which then connects to Udyan Vayu, which is upward flowing into the head. And so we're taking all this pranic energy and just sending it up the subtle body channels, essentially. So we'll give that a go. I'll guide us through the first round, and then we'll do 3 rounds. The last 2 will be, on your own volition. So exhale the breath completely, and then begin the inhale. Belly expands. And then Mula Bandha is contracted as the belly goes to the spine. Full breath in, and just hold the breath and wait. Then very gently exhale your breathing. Slowly, slowly, slowly exhale. And then lean forward, kind of balance on the fingertips, and then belly to the spine. Hold the breath out. Uddiyana Bandha, the navel lock. And gently inhale here. We'll do a catch breath. And then exhale. And then you're on your own. 2 more rounds. Yeah, inhaling when you're ready. Mula Bandha. Just feeling the effects of the practice here. Ooh. Okay, so just gently open the eyes here. Take a moment. And while I've never done this before, I think it might be a good point or time to do this. If you have any questions on what we just did, put a little comment in there, and let me address that if you have any questions, because I really want to make sure this is pretty clear experience. Very powerful practice, as you could probably feel. And then the more you do, the more kind of opening that comes in. What happens is Pranavayu is moving down and supports the secretions from the body, all fluids, anything that going out of the body. And so when we grab Mula Bandha, it takes that normally downward flowing energy and moves it back up. And then when we hold the breath out in the exhale retention and grab Uddiyana Bandha, what goes on with the breath being held out is there's heat that begins to build, and also a little, as we know, a little tension in the nervous system, a little vibration down there, and that releases more energy. And withdrawing the belly button to the spine and holding it there, we begin to purify what's called Masta Granthi. Masta Granthi, there's a Granthi in Manipur chakra, and Granthi, that word means governor valve or knot, if you will. And so just imagine energy being able to flow upward, but hitting something and not being able to get past it. And so internally in the subtle body structure, there are knots specifically inside, honestly, to protect us. Because if Kundalini energy or some of these higher forces were released and the rest of the body wasn't purified to able to sustain that upward energetic thrust, if you will, then it literally could hurt our physical body. And so these granthis, these knots, are mysteriously placed in the subtle body. And there's one at Manipur, there's one at Naha Chakra, and there's one behind the back of the neck. So 3 different areas for to kind of navigate these higher cosmic forces, because that's what we're really doing. We're doing cosmic yoga. And so the next practice will be, it's called Chatarbhuj Pranayama, the 4-part breath. How this practice is done is we'll inhale a specific amount of time, say 5 seconds to get a full breath in, 6 seconds, whatever it may be for you. And then we'll hold the breath in for that same duration of time. So inhale 6, hold 6, exhale 6, and then hold the breath out 6. So it's structured. Inhaling, pausing, exhaling, pausing. So you can imagine a square or any kind of method to help support this practice for you. What I would offer is start with what may be doable, what might be, because what goes on is the exhale retention that gets all of us. And again, you don't want to put too much pressure on that experience, but you also want that thing to, kind of unfold for you. So it's kind of good for a little tension down at the bottom, but not too much. And so we'll do three rounds of this, and I'll just guide the first one to get us used to it. It'll be a 5 count, cycle, and then I'll let you go for the next 2 on your own. So exhale your breathing completely, and then inhale. 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold the breath out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then just pause here for a moment. Probably felt kind of quick. And that's the practice. And so do 3 more, not 2, but 3 more on your own. Chatarbhuj Pranayama, the 4-part breath. Okay. Gently open the eyes. There was this, one of my teachers said one time to me, and this is a little bit of a secret actually, so now it may not be, but um, she said that, and she was a longtime student of Babaji's, Baba Hari Das, and she said that when the body is starved for air, for breath, Kundalini energy will move. And I've thought about that, I've reflected on it, and I've experimented with it as well. And I wouldn't suggest it. I'll just say that right now. Don't experiment with that so much. But it's true, is the answer to that question. It's true. And the energy just goes straight up. And the reflection that I had around that idea was around death, because there needs to be like a force, if you will, to release the soul and the subtle body from the physical form. At death, what happens is obviously the body dies, but then the subtle body and the causal body, the body, the energy system that holds all of our karmas and our samskaras, that leaves, and then the soul also leaves. The soul has this causal feature to it, and the subtle body just has, the subtle body features. The causal is just universalized or transcendent, and the subtle body is the thing that continues our karmic cycle, if you will. But there needs to be something that will pull all of that out of the physical apparatus, and it is the lack of breath. And so again, don't necessarily experiment with that, but it's definitely something that, as the capabilities of your pranayama practice advance, it'll kind of happen normally, kind of happen on its own when you stop, if you will, stop breathing. It's okay. So let the eyes close, back down again here. And to complete our pranayama practice, we'll do Tribandha Pranayama, the 3 lock practice. And again, we've been practicing this. If it's newer for you, we take a full yogic breath and we engage Mula Bandha, so root lock. And then at the top of the inhale, we release the chin into the hollow throat, the sternum lifts, the glottis closes, the back of the throat. Sometimes you just turn the corners up of your mouth to do that. Hold the breath in as long as comfortable. And then lift the chin and exhale the breath, and then get to the very bottom of the breath. Hold the breath out, and then belly to the spine, Uddiyana Bandha. And that's the 3rd lock. We'll do 3 rounds of Tribandha Pranayama, the 3 lock practice. So just go ahead on your own, find your own pacing, your own breath retention. Okay. Breathe into the belly here. The belly breath, the diaphragmatic breath, again allows for the nervous system to calm back down. Allowing for a sense of presence to emerge. Then allow for your awareness to be guided towards this place called Hridayam. Hridayam, we know this as the heart center. It's behind the very bottom part of your sternum, about 3 finger widths deep inside the cavity of the chest. And first, just breathe into that location. Just gently let your breath be guided there. And the Sanskrit word for compassion is karuna. Karuna. So just gently place in the mind as you inhale and also as you exhale the word karuna, compassion. Then allow the word to transform into the energy of compassion. And then imagine as you inhale that you're serving your own needs for compassion. And then as you exhale, you send that energy out. This may be a time where your samkalpa, your intention, can also be a supportive character here. And just gently let the mantra subside. And just guide your awareness to a sense of presence, compassion, serenity of the mind. And then just allowing this sense of presence to just fully pervade. Om Maitri Karuna Mudito Pikshanam Sukha Dukkha Punya Punya Vishayanam Bhavanataschitta Prasadanam. Let's just chant an Om here together. Om. So bringing hands to prayer here at the heart, and just again feel into your intention, into your sankalpa, adding any quality of how your vibration is right now. Just harmonizing your being with intention and compassion and heart wisdom. Just thank you for sharing your time and your practice here this afternoon. Namaste. So just wanted to say thank you everyone for joining me here this afternoon, and continuing to kind of support Mountain Monk YouTube channel. And there's a lot of content that's building on there, so you can check any of that out, I'm pretty sure. And again, we had a really sweet retreat this last weekend at Shivalaya, my place in the mountains, and we'll do more of that. It's really quite vital and wonderful up there, and just a great place to get out of the city and practice outside and commune with community. And and just little shout out in the notes. The whole Venmo thing is appreciated. Santosh Powell, Venmo stuff and all that, and regular schedule coming up. So this Saturday morning, live streaming from mountains, and just stay tuned with everything. Keep the faith, and love, peace. All right. Thanks, friends. Thanks, Jenna. Thanks, Tammy. Thanks, Eric. Thanks for dealing with us. Hi, Maggie. Thanks, Maggie. Thanks for chasing the sun around the yard here. So, all right. We'll see y'all soon.